What's up, guys? I wanted to make a video, right, talking about the 3 things, right, that every man, right, should change about themselves starting now, right? And obviously, right, this video isn't going to be like the end all be all kind of video about the 3 things that every man should change. This is something that I've noticed within myself, and if any other guy is like experiencing this, then I think you guys should also change these things about yourself, right? So let's hop right into the video. So number 1, right, stop speaking out loud, right? I will say this, right, this isn't like a common problem that I see in a bunch of dudes or I see within my friends, right? It's just like a habit that you must have picked up early in your life, right? That you probably thought it was cool. I know I did, right? When I first started speaking out loud, because I would watch a TV show or read a comic book, and I would always see these characters speaking out loud at the time, right? When I was a kid, and I thought it was cool, and I picked up on it, and now I regret picking up on that action, right? Or it's just like a force of habit, right? It's how you cope with trauma, some kind of trauma you're dealing with, whatever, right? I would say that you guys need to stop, right, speaking out loud at the end of the day, right? Because when you speak out loud, right, you're basically, right, giving out your thoughts to anybody that is potentially overhearing whatever you're saying, right? You want to keep those thoughts in your mind, right, in your brain, and find a way to handle it, right? Because while speaking out loud could be like a great way to like cope with whatever you're going through, right, it could be a good way to like release your energy, right? I wouldn't say that it's the best way to release your energy. There are a bunch of other ways to release your energy. It could be through like fighting, to boxing, right, to working at the gym, right? If you're speaking out loud and you're using that as a way to cope, right? So I would say, right, you should stop speaking out loud, because not only is it not the best way to cope, you're also allowing potential people, right, to overhear your thoughts, and it isn't something that you would want to do. And besides, it's already cooler anyways if you speak within your mind, right? Nobody knows what you're thinking, right? You could be thinking about anything, right? But it's only within your mind, and you only decide what you want the world to see, right? You only decide what goes out externally, right? And I think that's way more powerful than speaking out loud, right? And there's one last thing that I wanted to add, right, to this first point, is that when you stop speaking out loud and you speak more in your mind, it's like when you talk outside, you sound smoother, right? Your words come out more clearly. You use greater vocabulary, right, than you would have used if you were always speaking out loud. Because I think, in my opinion, I think that when you speak out loud, right, it's like your brain is always talking, is always using the words, the energy that could have been conserved, so that when it's time for you to speak, it could have spoken with greater effect, right? But it's less of an effect if you're always speaking out loud, if you're always saying what you got to say. And I think that's also another really powerful thing why you shouldn't be speaking out loud, because it allows you to conserve the energy when you speak, so that when it's time for you to speak, you use your words more effectively, you speak more effectively, you sound more classy, like a man, essentially speaking. Okay, right, guys, number 2, right, talk and act with purpose, right? I feel like a lot of us dudes like to talk about unnecessary things, right? We like to act foolish, in other words, right? When there's no need to be acting foolish, right? Because the more you act foolish, the more you talk about stuff that don't matter or joke around too much. I'm not saying you shouldn't joke around, but keep it to a minimum, right? People take you not so seriously, right? They see you as a joke, right? As a clown, essentially, right? And obviously, right, I'm not trying to say, right, they're going to bully you for it. I'm not trying to say anything like that, but you get what I mean, right? They're not going to take you seriously when the time comes for you to, like, you know, act seriously, right? Act with purpose, talk with purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're always going to be acting foolish, it's like I said before, when you speak out loud, the energy, the effect, when it's time for you to speak with purpose, when it's time for you to speak when it matters, is lower. And it's the same thing here, right? If you always act foolishly, right, if you're not always acting with purpose, when it's time for you to act with purpose, right, it's like, it's not as powerful as it would have been, right? Because look at it like this, right? When you're talking to a guy, right, who never acts foolish, who always has a stern personality, who always acts, you know, serious, that's all you're going to get, right? and you're gonna take that person more seriously, right? Because that's all he gives, right? And when he's not giving that energy, it's like he says nothing because there's nothing to talk about, right? So when he does talk and act with purpose, that's all he gives, and you're gonna take him more seriously because you already know something's up, something's, some deep things are about to go down, right? And you take that person more seriously than the person who's always joking, acting foolish. And when it's time for you to act serious, it's like you understand that it's serious, but it's not really like hitting you as much as it could have been if that person was always seriously, right? And I also want to talk about my own experience with this point, right? The reason why I put this point up here is because 2 days ago, right, I had a fire drill in my tower, right? I had a fire drill, and I realized that I was kind of acting foolish, right? My friends didn't really take it that much, didn't really look too deeply into it, right? But like, I could tell that if I was always acting with purpose, if I was always talking with purpose, right, they would take me more seriously. They would, they would look at me more of a threat. Not necessarily a threat, but you get what I'm saying, right? They would look at me more of a man than just a dude that's always joking around, right? And since that day on, right, I changed my personality, right? And obviously, right, I still have my core personality traits, but like what I give out is just only a serious kind of energy, right? Not too seriously, because like I said, you shouldn't be too seriously. You just want to also have fun when it matters. But like most of the time, you're only going to see me talking and acting with purpose from now on, because these people, right, are the same kind of people that will always joke around, will always, flame you for acting foolish, right? And when it's time for you, and then it's like when you finally become serious, now it's like, oh, we want to hold you back. But at the end of the day, it's like, which is more objectively better? You acting seriously all the time, or you just joking all the time and acting serious when it's finally time? And I would say it's the former, right? It's always going to be you acting seriously first all the time and joking, having fun, poking fun to a minimum. And finally, guys, last point, right? Anything unnecessary, right, do not concern yourself with. I'm going to say it again because I feel like a lot of us guys really do struggle with this one, right? Anything unnecessary, anything that does not add to your life, do not concern yourself with, right? Because guys, look at it like this. Why do I need to know what's going on 50 miles away from my location, right? What do I need to know what's going on the other side of the world, right? It doesn't concern me. It's important for what it is, but when it really comes down to it, it does not concern me at all. It does not make me richer. It does not give me more friends. It does not, make me bigger as a man, more muscular. Nothing. It does not concern you at all. At the end of the day, it's like, why am I caring about stuff that does not matter to me? And I'm not saying, right, you should never look at things every now and then, look at the news every now and then. That's important, right? But that shouldn't consume your life, right? That should be like a 30-minute kind of thing you do, right? The least of a priority of a thing that you should be doing, right? Looking at shit like that. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't help you in any way, it's never going to help you forever. And here's a little story time, right? Because my friends, right, they're looking at like Instagram, TikTok, all of that, crap, right? And every time when something interesting would happen, they would always tell each other, and I would always want to know, right? And it's like they would always show the people, right, that would care more, right? Because I cared the least about those kind of things, and then I would always be the last one to know about that kind of thing, right? And that's just from my experience. They might give you a different story if they were ever on this video, but that's just from my experience, right? And that hit me that I really am wasting my time looking at shit like that, right? That does not add to my life at all. I'm fiending to look over a story that's so insignificant in my life, right? It's significant for what it is, but it really isn't all that important for the now, in the present. Because guys, at the end of the day, right, while all your friends are gossiping, acting foolish, right, looking at stuff that does not concern them, right, you're out here grinding. You're out here making your life way more efficient than it could have been if you were wasting time looking at news and social media platforms, right? If you were essentially wasting your time doom scrolling, right? Doom scrolling is when you're like scrolling aimlessly on social media all the time, right? Then if you were essentially wasting your time doom scrolling because you're out here having goals bigger than yourself, right? Having aspirations that you want to achieve, and you're cutting all the background noise out and only focusing on what's now and what's present, right? And that's the kind of life that you should be leading, right? Because who cares what happens 50 miles away? Who cares what happens on the other side of the world? That shit does not affect you at all, right? And if you really want to prove to yourself why you shouldn't care, why it's already beneficial, that you shouldn't care about anything necessary, is how quickly you forget your information, right? Information that was shared to you through gossip and social media platforms, right? They share to you the information and you forget it right away. That's how you know, right? It really doesn't matter. Because if you're not able to forget this quickly, then you shouldn't even be looking at the platform anyways, because it really isn't that important if you're forgetting this quickly, right? And that's it, guys. This is the 3 things that you should change about yourself right now. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys another time.